Welcome to the Wallcast. We are live and in person with Sam, who actually joined us in person this week. Everyone else is busy, so we decided to do it in-house. Matthew's with me, Frank, as always, and we're going to be talking about some new stuff with the store, as well as some mishmash stuff that we've been doing in our free time / quarantine / reopen startup, whatever you want to call this new phase that we're in.
Phase 2 of reopening?
Yeah, phase 2 of hopefully the end. So the store is reopened. We are open from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Website's still up and running, as well as Facebook, social media. Make sure you follow us and comment if you want us to talk about anything specific. New stuff's coming into the store every day since it hasn't been able to come into the store for the past 3 months. So we'll be doing live podcasts hopefully soon. At the store, so you can even stop in and see us doing that on Sundays as well if you guys want to join in. So
Live studio audience.
Live studio audience. We're even gonna have an applause track too.
No, we're not.
Laugh track initiated.
No, we are not.
Yes.
No canned laughter.
I will die before I download copyright-free laugh track that MP4.
I agree.
So that's pretty much the announcements for the store. So what's everybody been doing? Who wants to start?
So I've been watching, obviously, Rick and Morty, because that just finished up last week. And, you know, since we do the podcast during the day, wasn't able to talk about the season finale. I thought the season finale was one of the best episodes they've made, honestly. At least in terms of, like, plot. Like, the comedy was still there and everything, but the actual plot line was just
You mean
well
the
done.
actual fact that they brought back the plot in general?
Yes, I mean, and
Okay.
but I mean that's something that they've been alluding to, you know, that like I feel like that was going to happen, and I know some people want an episode by episode plot line, and some people want absolutely zero plot.
I'm all for the South Park plot.
Yeah,
but
I like that structure.
But I would also just like to see.
I would just like more of the show.
Yeah,
in general.
not waiting 2 years
And
for the
that's-
next season.
That's really my only gripe about this season was like the season was announced in 2018 of May, and like the first episode started in November of 2019, and it's only a 10 episode season. Like I understand animation takes a lot of time.
When did Rick and Morty actually launch?
Like, begin.
The first episode?
The very first episode.
It was like
Rick and Morty.
2015.
It was like, I'm pretty sure I remember watching it in high school.
Yeah, same. I think it was like 2015
Like,
or
I was a
2014.
senior in
I wanna say.
2015.
I feel so old.
Right?
2013.
But is that the wait?
2013?
But is that the actual first
It
episode?
just says air date show
What do you-
2013.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
Jesus.
So in
Wow.
7 years we've got 4 seasons. Great.
I mean, to be honest,
It
that's
started in 2013.
it's better than some shows that I've watched.
That's insane.
Yes, it is.
But I mean, that's really my only gripe with the show is like I would be much more happy with this season as long as we don't have what happens for season 4, where there'll be an announcement and then you have to wait a year, then you'll have some episodes released, then you have to wait half a year, and then the season will finish.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Like I can
No.
understand you want to do a hiatus, sure, fine, whatever. Do the hiatus, come back,
Mhm.
release the show in its entirety, go on your hiatus again, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
Don't hiatus, a little bit of show, hiatus, a little bit of show, hiatus, a little bit of show. Because
Yeah.
like watching Steven, that's what Steven Universe did, and that was
Mhm.
honestly one of the most infuriating things to me about the show.
That was the worst part of it.
Yeah, it was
Steven
how
Universe.
long, because what ends up happening is like you'll be engaged while the show's releasing, but then in the meantime you'll just lose interest.
Yeah, and then you have to like remember what happened on the last season.
Exactly, and like
all
it
that.
just makes it much harder as a viewer than it needs to be.
I hate like mid-season breaks anyway.
Yes.
Like, is it in like an era where we have like Netflix and you can watch everything in a weekend?
Yes.
Mid-season breaks are a surefire way to make me forget about your fucking show.
That aside, I will say though that the second half of season 4 I thought was much better than the first half.
But see,
Yeah.
I don't think I like Rick and Morty. I don't think there's a single episode that I dislike. Like, I don't really think there's many things about Rick and Morty that I dislike.
It's
Besides the fact of the structure of the show that they just can't make it.
yeah, it's Rick and Morty on an adventure, and that's can be entertaining, but a lot of the times it feels like it's just kind of devolving into the same structure.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why Rick and Morty is so great is because it's kind of broken that mold so many times where you watch an episode and you think, okay, this is how it's going to play out, and the episode plays out completely differently.
Yeah.
But like this past season, a lot of the episodes have felt very predictable. Like you kind of already got what was happening as soon as the episode started.
Maybe.
I mean, I would say so. Like the time train, the heist episode, like it was all just kind of very. And I know those were supposed to be like
Also,
meta episodes.
I was just saying, also
talking
Rick
about
like
drugs.
virtually announces what the episode is going to be in the beginning of it.
Yeah. Which I mean, I like the fourth wall humor. I like the meta commentary, things like that. But again, there's only so many times you can do that and get away with it and have it be good. Like, I mean, if you look at like Deadpool, for example, like, yeah, Deadpool is a pretty funny character because, haha, he references the viewer. But imagine if the entire comic was just Deadpool referencing the viewer, referencing the viewer, referencing the viewer, referencing the viewer.
Like if that was just the entire movie.
It gets old. Like,
I mean,
that's
Deadpool
just how it works.
Virtually kind of does it almost in every pain he's in.
And I feel like it gets old. Like, I like Deadpool as a character, but it does get old.
I don't know about that.
I would say.
I just think
I
just think they need to get their shit together and make the show on some kind of schedule.
I agree.
Like,
yeah.
But again,
I don't care.
Animation's hard though, and
Animation
they're real
is
people,
difficult,
and I get
like,
it.
your personal shit shouldn't. I mean, I understand personal experience, stuff like that, and personal problems. But the bottom line is, like, you have millions of people that want to watch this show.
But see, I don't feel like that's a real argument because, like, if you're in an animation studio and there's something happening that is stopping you from being in the animation studio.
I'm excluding COVID, like that. I get.
I'm not talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about like when one of the lead producers died. Like I can understand why they waited to go back to the show for that. There's a lot of things there.
I mean, I honestly think by the time they get around to season 5, nobody's going to care about that show.
No, they'll still care.
No, there's still going to be. There's still a huge fan base for the show.
I was going to say the Rick and Morty fans
The
are
show is
very
going
much
to
still going to
continue.
care.
The show will go on.
No,
quite
because
some time.
you got to think, like, now with COVID and stuff like that, they're probably not going to be recording or doing anything for the next. They're not going to start anything for at least the next 5 months, roughly, I would say.
I still think the Rick and Morty fans are going to be into it, though. Like, I really
That's
feel
the thing
like
is when they were. I'm saying all this
when
now,
it
but when they
releases, people
release
are still
something,
gonna,
you
you're
guarantee.
still going to watch it.
Yeah, when the new season releases, I can guarantee you I'm going to be watching it the night it releases.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
watch
just-
the night it releases.
No, I wait until these mini seasons are over and then I watch all of them.
I-
I try to watch them as they release, but I can't watch shows like
I'll watch them like
weekly.
2 at a time, or like if I remember, Rick and Morty's got a new episode,
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
The
But
only-
I don't ever stick to any show like that where I'm like waiting during the week.
Literally the only show.
Game of Thrones taught me that.
The only show in recent history that I would watch that night is Game of Thrones. Because if you didn't watch Game of Thrones that fucking night, the entire fucking show was ruined for you.
Well, I mean that's also like I'm in a bunch of Rick and Morty groups. Like,
Yeah.
For some
Bless your
reason,
heart.
I know.
Braver than the U.S.
Some-
Marines there.
Sometimes it's pretty goddamn. Mainly the only reason why I'm in those groups too is to literally just get a link to the new episode because
Oh, I just go on Reddit after. I just like
I also just don't ever really use Reddit.
I
just
use
go
Reddit
to-
for like few things, and one of them is finding links to like
I
movies
just
and stuff.
go to Kiss Cartoon and hit Rick and Morty.
You know how easy it
Well,
is?
sometimes like the day of release,
Yeah.
like so
the next
I
day,
yeah.
that night.
yeah, but see I don't want to wait till the next day, and that night I have to wait till like 5 a.m. to watch it.
You know how easy though it is, Matt, to just like open Chrome and type in Rick and Morty season whatever, episode whatever, link Reddit. It's like the first like third. It's like maybe the third. post
Usually
on
I just use
Google.
Daily Motion.
No.
That's
Game
fair.
of Thrones taught me to never wait on a show.
Well,
I personally watch it every week. I
I'm
like
proud of you.
having that. I like those kind of shows where, if I'm engaged enough to watch it every week, that means it's a good show to me.
Well, honestly, too, I'm all about Netflix series like Space Force, where they uploaded the entire first season.
Oh, so you can just watch it all in the
So I
one
can
weekend?
just start it, watch it, done.
Yeah.
Wait till the next season.
Speaking of Netflix shows, I've also been watching the third part to Baki, which is a fighting anime on Netflix.
That was a really good transition, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. I tried. If you like fighting anime, you like it. It reminds me a lot of that time Tijumi no Ippo, which is pretty cool. because that's just your basic kind of like boxing anime, but there's still a lot of depth to it. Baki has a lot of depth. Although this season there's a lot of things that are introduced, there's a lot of plot points that are followed through, kind of to the end. But there's a lot of character development that happens, but at the same time almost feels like a regression. Like Baki's character, for example, I think has gotten worse.
I mean, he wasn't really that defined in the
No,
first
he
season.
wasn't. But the thing is like he was defined as like a Goku type archetype character where, I'm a good fighter, I like to fight, that's it. And he's still a good-hearted person, where this new season's kind of going against that kind of a bit, to be honest. One of the most prevalent things is the end of, which is confusing because there's 13 episodes of the season. I haven't watched the 13th episode yet. I'm like halfway through it. But the 12th episode literally has an end card that says the end, like it's the end of the season.
And then there's a 13th.
But then there's a 13th episode.
Ooh.
So I don't really get, like, so far from what the 13th episode seems like, it seems like it's almost kind of a recap, but not really.
Why
would you recap at the end of the season?
Why would you make a recap?
Animes have done that though, or like they'll do like a
They'll
but
do
you
a recap, but typically you save the recap either before
The next
the final
season.
fight
Yeah.
or at the beginning of the next season. That's usually when a recap happens.
you do a recap.
Sometimes you'll get like a midway recap, like I know JoJo's did it a couple times in part 5, where
when they're fucking long ass parts.
and mainly the reason why they did it for part 5 was because of animation constraints and time constraints.
Yeah.
They just needed to get something out when they really couldn't finish the episode, so they did a recap.
Yeah. But why would you put it at the end?
But that's the thing is,
That's so odd.
and again, like it doesn't really seem like a recap episode either, because it seems like there's new stuff being introduced. So I don't know if it's supposed to be setting up for season 4 or what the story is.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, Baki's been pretty goddamn good. A lot of the fights are really cool. Like it's based around like normal martial arts, but pretty much everyone in the show is superhuman in some regard. And a lot of the fighting styles and stuff like that, like I don't know, I'm not a martial arts expert, so I really can't speak to this. But they seem so wonky that they almost can't be real. Like one of the fighting styles that was introduced in part 3 is called Chori. And what it is it's the ultimate relaxation of the body.
Oh my god.
So like there's literally like 140-year-old man who fights against the strongest character in the show. And he gets hit, but like he relaxes his body in such a way that like he purposefully dislocates his jaw. So like he gets hit in the jaw, but because his jaw is dislocated, it just kind of absorbs the impact and nothing really happens. Which doesn't really make sense because this character, like they had 140 rooftop tiles stacked. He literally places his palm on the top of the stack and just does that, and the entire thing shatters into bits. So like you're telling me a full force punch, like even if his jaw is relaxed, it's still connecting with the bone in your jaw. Your jawbone is literally glass at 140 years old. So there's no way it wouldn't just be atomized, pretty much.
I'm sure someone has done, like some martial arts person out there has written like an article or done a video or something analyzing it.
Well, no, but it's the same concept like boxers do it, like when they get punched.
Yes, they actually bring it up. They say like there, a lot of boxers will train to the point where when they get punched, they keep their eyes open.
Well,
which is actually something I don't know if that's 100% true.
Yes, that's a major.
Yeah, I didn't really know that. Like, I mean, I haven't watched it
because it's a part of like flinching. Like, if you close your eyes and you do this, and you're in the middle of a boxing match.
They bring up that point of like, someone who falls just like haphazardly and lands on their arm will shatter their arm, but a baby falls out of a 5-story building and is just completely okay.
It's the same concept like drunk driving. Like when you're driving drunk and you hit another car, the people in the car die, but the drunk is fine because he's virtually unconscious anyway. So his body's
completely loose and relaxed.
Like completely.
And it's that kind of flinch and instinct that is actually detrimental.
Because it tenses your body, which tenses your muscles.
Yeah, I like
that. That is a legit thing.
Yeah, no,
But I don't know if it can be extenuated to that point.
probably
Like,
not.
I don't
Probably
think-
not. But
No,
again,
because even you're 100% right. Even if you dislocated your jaw and your jaw is just hanging, if I punch your hanging jaw, it's still going to connect with your hanging jaw.
Yeah.
There's still force, like, to
Yes.
the physics.
It's going to be different, but it's probably going to knock your
But,
hanging jaw
I mean,
off
you
your
can't-
face.
And the other
can't
thing
just-
they talked about too was like, so, like, you know how there's the reporter talking to Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
So like he asked him a question of like, what would happen if you got hit by a heavyweight?
Yeah.
And so Muhammad Ali, he grabs an iron pipe and he gives it to the reporter. He's like, I want you to take this and swing it at the ground as hard as you humanly can. So the reporter does it. He hits the ground and his arms are like, because it just reverberates.
Yeah.
'Cause that's how force works.
Mhm.
What?
And so he's like, if you got punched by a heavyweight, that's what would happen to you. So even if you got hit in the jaw, your jaw's completely dislocated, still connected to you.
Yeah.
You can't remove your jaw and get hit.
But it's going to, you got to think of displacement at that point.
Yeah,
the point
I'm
of
sure
force
to absorb some of the
is
shock.
hanging, but it's
But,
still,
like-
you're right. There's still going to be force.
Exactly.
But what I was saying is boxers train to absorb punches.
Yeah.
So like when they get hit in the stomach and the chest, it's not like a shock to their system.
Yeah.
They're almost prepared for that punch.
Yeah.
But not braced for that punch.
They're not
They're not
braced. They're
braced because
prepared.
you don't want to be
It's
tense.
it's almost like
Yeah.
absorbing it, or like a breathing technique. Like when like if you
No, it's
imagine.
100% like a breathing and like
Yes.
a tricking your brain
It's Homo.
type of thing. Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God. Oh my God.
basically, yeah. Which is why I love that aspect of that show.
Well, that's all I have to talk about is JoJo's.
Well, there's the perfect segue.
There we go. And speaking of,
So I've finally completed part 1, 2, and 3 of JoJo's, which is taking me longer than I would have hoped.
I mean,
And I'm into
I
part
did it
4.
like 4 days.
as someone who isn't done with part 3 yet, it is also taking me longer than I had hoped.
As someone who just ran through JoJo.
Well,
like
I
a
also-
fucking truck with
Matt-
no brakes.
Matt,
I-
you literally amaze me at like the speed that you watch TV. I'm like,
I
how?
just I want you to know I'm really disappointed in myself because from last night I went from episode 5 of Baki to episode 13.
Well, yeah, I do that.
Matt,
which,
my,
like,
my fucking attention
I
span
also
could
started
never.
watching it at 2 a.m.
Like I started,
So,
I
I
started,
literally could never.
I started rewatching part 1
I
On-
love part 1.
on Friday, and I finished part 3 last night.
That's insane. It took me like, I mean, we could literally roll the tape, but it took me like, I think at least like weeks to watch part 1 and 2.
No, once I start watching something, I can't. Like if I have time, like I'll just sit there and just.
Oh, I
it all
can't.
depends on how engaged
No,
I am in the
I-
show. Like,
Even if I
yeah,
like the
it's
show, I
engaging.
literally can't. I'll be like, no, you know what? I want to watch some fucking mind-numbing YouTube content.
no, see, I feel like if I were to like Avatar, for example, like if I were to rewatch Avatar right now, I would legitimately be done with it in like
Well, it's-
probably 3 days.
Avatar is so easy to binge watch though because you've seen it before, so
That's
it
true.
doesn't use your
I know
entire
a
brain.
lot of it. was
Yeah, your
coming-
brain isn't
yeah.
absorbing new content.
I mean,
your
that's
brain
true,
is
like,
rewatching
That
it.
was the last time I rewatched Full Metal Alchemist. I rewatched all Full Metal Alchemist in like
I could do it.
4 days, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
I honestly, I want to start that and Avatar again.
I love it.
But anyway, like you were saying with JoJo.
But it is extreme. It was nice to actually rewatch everything and watch it sequentially now,
Mhm.
rather than watching part 1, waiting for a dub, part 2, waiting for a dub, part 3. Because I guess making dub anime is just the hardest thing to do. on
Because
the
you have to
planet.
get different fucking voice actors. I don't understand why you don't
I am
understand why
not-
it's hard.
Well, the other thing is translation.
Yeah, you have to
um,
translate it. You have to get voice actors again.
Number
Like,
one,
So
I'm not
could-
going to say to never watch a dub, but anyone who is watching this who has
Sub.
not watched JoJo
Watch-
has an interest
watch
in
the
watching
sub
JoJo,
for the love of God.
please God watch the sub.
The
And
sub
even
is
if you don't
so
typically
bad.
like sub, even if you don't typically watch sub,
Watch
the sub fits the tone. The
I mean, there's nothing
characters.
wrong with the dub. There's nothing
There are
wrong.
several
There's so
things
many
wrong
things
with
wrong
it.
with the dub.
I find that there's things wrong with the sub though. You can't. It's
I
literally.
feel nothing wrong with the sub.
I don't.
I have had
this-
no
I
issue.
feel like I have an easier time understanding the characters, their tones, everything
Yes.
in the sub.
as they're
more than
high
the
pitched
dub.
screaming.
But it's not
But it fits
that.
the style of JoJo so
Yes.
well, the way they voice act it in the sub.
Like one thing I honestly can't stand, and this like goes for kind of almost everything. Dragon Ball's kind of the one thing that does it well. Is dubbed screaming, I think, is much worse than subbed.
That's
Oh, 100%.
insane.
No,
That's
I
an
think it's
insane
so bad.
It
statement.
No,
sounds
because
so
then-
stiff.
That's
It sounds
Yeah.
so.
insane
It sounds
statement.
like it's fake.
And
That's
because
an
it's-
insane statement.
No, it's because they're trying too hard to sound like the subs.
Yes.
And they just sound
Because like
like
watching
shit.
JoJo,
It's
where
ear piercing.
if I
It's
hear
ear piercing.
Jotaro go to swing a punch or Star Platinum swing a punch, I don't expect you to hear, yeah, which is what you hear. Like, and it just doesn't fit to me. It doesn't sound good to me.
No. That's the worst part about sub. And I understand some people like sub more, some people, I understand. I'm just saying, for me, I will never watch anything.
I'm typically the kind of person, I'll watch both. If it's a good dub, I will watch a good dub. Like Cowboy Bebop, Dragon Ball. I will typically only, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes.
I will typically only watch those shows in the dub. And that's not saying the subs are bad.
Yeah.
It's just,
have you listened to the sub for Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah, I watched parts of it in the sub.
Yeah, where it literally sounds like a bunch of children screaming in your ear.
That's
I
part
don't think the sub is bad.
Also, that's just
Awful.
part of the fucking media.
Awful.
I will 100%. I will watch the sub, and then I will dabble in the dub if I'm trying to do something while also watching the show, and then that's when I make my decision.
Like
I can also watch. The only thing that I can watch subtitled if I really want to, or if something's really good, is I can watch live action, like normal movies and shows subtitled. I don't know why. But like I watched Kingdom on Netflix, that zombie Asian thing.
Literally everything. I put subtitles on for every fucking thing I watch. Even if it's in English,
no,
I put subtitles
my problem
on.
is
no, because I can read lips.
Because I feel like half the time I can't fucking hear. I'm not convinced I can hear.
I agree.
I like the background conversation.
If I'm lying down in my bed
I can't
and like I have something on, I have to play it in like an extreme volume to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
And when I'm watching shows at 3 a.m, I don't like to do that. So like I'll put subtitles on, but the problem with anime is I don't know if it's something with Netflix or what it is, or if it's just different teams do it differently. But like if you put on English subtitles on a like English dubbed show, it will still display the Japanese subtitles.
Yes, it will.
Which really irritates me because like it, and this is a difference of localization, translation, things like that. But like watching the subtitles and listening to it, half the time it's literally two completely different sentences.
They're different things.
They're
completely different.
That's another reason why I don't like watching sub, because I feel like it's never right.
That's not true.
Well, you don't
sub is the most correct.
It is. Also, you don't know fucking Japanese.
That's
How
the
the
thing.
fuck are you?
That's why I don't want to listen to it. That's the thing, is when you watch it,
I don't understand Japanese. I don't want to listen to somebody screaming it in my ear while I try to follow along and see what they're saying.
30 and I never fucking learned how to read.
It has nothing to do with reading. Why waste my time when there's a dub?
When I watch subbed anime, compared to listening to a dub, the sub fits much more
better
than the dub local. It's just how it works. There are things that get lost in translation, period. And because you have to think, with a dub, it's not the fact that they're taking the sub translations and reading that first script. They 9 times out of 10 are completely reworking the actual script to fit the dub. And a lot of the times you lose actually a lot of things out of
There's a lot of charm that's lost.
I'm fine with it.
Even down to the vocab. Like I find that like in the sub, things are much more thought out. Things are much more, I don't want to say eloquent in how they're worded, but there is definitely much more sentence structure to sub than there is to dub. Dub is usually kind of, I don't want to say dumbed down, but it is much simpler and much more.
Like I watched
English
like that show. So there's a show on Netflix called Kingdom, and it's essentially about like the Forbidden City. I believe it's China, Forbidden City in China, where it like has a zombie outbreak.
Like Shangri-La?
No. Shangri-La is Mongolia, I believe.
Shangri-La is in the Himalayas.
Yes. So
which is closer to Nepal.
But no. The Forbidden City in China is literally like that Forbidden City like 100 years ago that never saw outsiders like you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I believe it takes place a part of the Forbidden City, and like the emperor becomes infected by some disease that turns him into a zombie.
And this is live action?
It's live action, but it's subbed and dubbed. The dub is now that I can't do. I can't watch something live action.
It's lip. Because
I lip read. I lip read.
Well, that's
which
something.
Is just it's horrendous to watch. It's like those old, like I used to watch all those old like kung fu movies that were like dubbed, and their mouths like this, and then the voice catches up. That was awful.
So bad. But honestly, even dubbed anime does that. Like I find myself a lot of times looking at dubbed anime
and
watching the mouth, and the mouths still don't really match up. They do edit it and work on it so it matches up more.
It fully depends on what you're watching, because some of them they don't do that. Like some animes they don't like rework the lip animation to have it match the
Or
dub.
they'll do it and
Or
it's
they
just
do
not
and
that
it's still
great.
kind of wonky. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because you're taking an art style
The
that
other
already
thing-
fucking exists, and you're trying to pay someone else to redo the lips.
The
so
other
it
thing too
matches.
that I find that on anime with sub and dub is I feel like Chris Sabat, for instance, like hearing his voice in an anime, like I could pick out his voice.
Mhm.
It ties me to that character more because I know the actor.
Yeah,
and
but
can
I mean, if you
hear
watch-
his emotion and stuff like that. For Japanese characters, I can't understand what they're saying. I don't care about their acting at all in any way because I don't understand what they're saying.
No. I mean, like, again, I hate to keep harping back to JoJo's for this, but like
But it's
Dio's
such a good
voice
example.
actor, Dio's
Dio's
voice
voice actor was amazing in the dub.
actor, but it's much better.
It's so much better in the sub. It's so much better.
Dio has like a hiss to his voice in the sub.
That
Like,
sounds awful.
he sounds
Yeah.
evil.
It's awesome.
He sounds evil in the dub.
No, but not in
really.
the same way.
Yes.
I want to hear a hissing
It's a
Japanese
complete.
person.
It's not.
Well,
I
it's
don't
not
mean,
hissing like
I
a
don't mean
fucking
hiss like
snake.
he's literally a snake. Yeah, I mean hiss as
Voldemort.
in like there's almost like sting to his like there's almost tangible evil to his words.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Where I feel like in dub you're just completely losing out on.
Whatever.
Mhm.
So part 3, which I mean I'm not that excited about because
I can't wait to get.
I'm excited to
Can't wait
keep
to, like,
watching
plow
JoJo's
through.
because like JoJo's, like I was telling you yesterday, like JoJo's is the most love-hate I've ever had for an anime. that
I
I've
so
ever
far have
watched.
only been love.
No.
But I also can't wait to be done with part 3 to get to part 4 because I see a lot of content from part 4
And
and,
that-
it's art,
That was kind of the
Style,
same thing I went through with part
and I'm
3.
kind of like,
Like I like part
let's
3,
go.
but part 3 definitely at
Yeah.
times drags.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is. Like
Because
it
the
just,
first stands are useless.
not necessarily true. But I mean the first stands you see are all the main characters.
Okay, so let me rephrase it. The first enemy stands are useless.
But that's what part 3 is. Part 3 is a very much villain of the week. Like it's
Yeah.
just new
Which-
villain, new villain, new villain, new
I
villain,
don't
new villain,
know.
new villain.
I feel like I don't like that as
No.
much as the
Because-
first 2 parts
Because
being
with-
like,
no,
and they do have a long-term villain that they're going towards.
Yes.
But I still don't know how I feel
But when
about
you-
every episode meeting a new villain, meeting a new stand. I don't know if I like it.
I like that idea, but what I was going to say is like when you think back to part 1, like when just in the brief time, because Jonathan's only in it for like 8 episodes. When you think back to Jonathan, every enemy he faces, you don't automatically assume he's going to win. In part 3, I automatically assume, without a doubt, there's no
Well,
fear.
I don't know. I
Here's
mean,
the thing.
Yeah.
watching Jonathan, I didn't ever really like. The only time I thought, "Wow, is Jonathan gonna win this?" is when he fights Dio.
At the
No,
end, yeah.
that's not true.
That's 100%.
Well, they-
When he
do-
gets thrown into the water by the first knight that he fights, he literally almost dies.
But did you see
When
what
he
you
gets
said there?
chained to the thing, it takes Baron Zeppeli to kill himself in order for Jonathan to beat him.
But again, that happens all the time in JoJo.
No,
Again,
no, because
Jotaro-
because
No, it doesn't.
in part three, Jotaro is literally invincible compared to every other stand until Dio. Until Dio. Until
I
Dio,
just-
he has
I
no
just-
threat.
I feel like part 3 is too long for me to enjoy meeting a new villain every episode. I think if it's
See-
short, it's fine. But
Especially
now it
when the
just kind of
stands
gets,
are.
The
it
one
just
thing,
gets like
the
a
one thing
lot.
that gives, like the one bonus that has to part 3 is you get to see a lot of like different
Which-
ideas come
that's
forward.
cool.
which-
But they're not all necessarily good.
No, and that's the truth. Like
That's the
there are a
flaw.
lot of villains, especially in part 3, where they show up, they have absolutely zero impact pretty
Yes.
much, and their abilities are kind of
Garbage.
not important
Garbage.
at
Like
all.
right now, part 3.
Like, did you hit the magnet lady yet?
I love the stat.
I don't
don't
think
know
I have.
what's you're just
But
wrong on that.
I
think.
don't think I have. But my main thing with part 3 is every episode Loki feels like a filler episode,
Yeah, and that's very much how
which
it is.
is just it's a long part
Yes.
for them to all feel like, all right, meet villain stand, beat villain stand.
Or
next
how about
episode.
every single episode they have to somehow end up in a cafe or in a
No, I'm
restaurant
okay
of
with
some
that.
sort?
Because if I was an anime character, every single episode I would somehow end up in a cafe.
My favorite moment in JoJo, and especially in part 3, one of my favorite moments is right before they meet Darby older, and they're at the bar and they all get iced tea, And they
They
literally
just-
all drink the iced tea and slam it down at the same exact
How
fucking
far
time
are you in
for
part three?
absolutely
I'm trying to
zero
think of what
reason.
the last thing I remember is.
Because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I was gonna talk about the final fight because like
Well, yeah.
All right, well, don't
yeah,
talk about
yeah,
that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can spoil like minor things. Just
Yeah.
don't like ruin the ending.
Um,
What is? I'm trying to think of what the last thing I fucking watched
Did you
was.
meet Cock Ewing?
I don't know their name.
Green guy.
Did you meet
Yes.
Cockewing? She said
Yes.
that she's watched the show. She's not in the first 2 episodes.
I got to. Oh my
I don't know how
god.
far she is.
Fucking the bird guy died, but I'm pretty sure he's not actually.
Oh,
dead.
Muhammad Abdul.
That is the
He
last.
gets shot in
Yes,
the
I
head.
couldn't remember his name.
Shot in the head and
He-
stabbed in the back.
Yes, he died, but I have quite the inkling that he's not gonna be dead.
Another thing that
Because I feel
have
like
a
it was
big,
briefed
big,
over.
big gripe is Abdal. I love
I
Abdal.
couldn't
He's one of
remember
my
his
favorite
fucking name. I'm
characters.
sorry.
And his portion at the end is garbage. Garbage. It's garbage. It's literal garbage.
I'll report back.
It's not necessary.
It's necessary.
Would have much rather seen it happen to Iggy.
Mm.
Or
Yeah.
You fucking take that back.
Also,
now.
if you do watch JoJo's and you love animals or anything, just
Just
kind
don't
of
love
Don't
animals.
love animals.
Don't love animals
There's
watching
so
each other.
much dog.
Literally the first episode. Literally the first episode. Dog in a furnace.
I went
Burned to death.
I went on
No,
the.
it's
I
not
watched.
Is it the first
It's
episode?
It's the
legitimately the
first
first episode that he dies.
If I go back through my fucking Instagram story archive, there's a video where I'm like, why did no one fucking tell me to kill a dog in the first
I remember-
They kill a dog literally like every 3
There is-
episodes
They
after
killed
the
the
first
dog in the
episode.
first episode. They killed the
So-
dog. They killed the dog in part 3. When they were in
They
like.
kill multiple dogs in part 3.
Well, I've only witnessed one dog being killed.
There's at least 3 more that are going.
Yeah.
I think I've only witnessed one dog being killed, unless I'm
Which-
blocking it out. But
Oh wait. Actually, no. There's more. I think there's
Oh my
4.
God.
There's a lot.
There's 4 because
there's a
there's
lot.
also Inyaba.
Oh, there's
when
also
they're
a,
driving into Inyaba's trap. Like,
And
and you
there's-
see the dead dog. Yeah.
and there's also a cat at the end that
No!
that Dio just
Oh,
dismantles. He literally blends a cat with his fist.
I completely forgot about that. That
Even
You're
in, even in,
upset.
even in part 4,
You're upset.
I think in the first episode of part 4, a dog dies. It's either the first or second episode. I can't remember.
Is there like a video where he explains like why he always kills
why
dogs?
Iraqi has the weirdest
Okay,
animal.
Just wants to murder
He's
fucking dogs.
people have asked him about that before. I'm pretty sure he's just said like he's like I don't know. He's just like I just write what comes to mind and like.
And dog murder comes
So
to
he's
mind.
a serial killer.
Fucked up, Jaeger.
I mean the joke about Iraqi is that he is a vampire himself
I
because
hope so.
he's 60 years old and he literally does not look like he looks maybe 23.
So maybe he's Dio.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that's kind of
maybe.
the joke is that like he is literally like
Well,
one
also
of the
literally every other race on the planet that isn't white people just ages really gracefully. Like,
Yeah, but Hirohiko Araki.
I mean, I think I've aged pretty gracefully.
you're not 65, right? You're not old.
Also,
Actually, I think yesterday was his birthday too.
Oh my
if I'm not mistaken.
God.
yes, 31.
Yeah. Oh, you and Araki
You
have the
guys
same
share a
birthday.
birthday?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Gemini queens.
And I mean, JoJo's only started 2 years before you were born.
Which is weird. Yesterday for the story, I was
That's
looking
wild.
for the post. I was looking for like superheroes or anime characters.
Damn, that was such a missed idea.
Yeah, I
That
didn't
would have
even
been
know that.
great.
This is
That
Hirohiko
would've been
Araki at 60 or 59.
He's a dilf.
59 years old.
Oh, Dio, by the way, is also one of my favorite characters in all of
I
anime.
really do like Theo. Like,
He's
very
just
good.
pure evil,
I know, I like it.
and I love it.
I really do love that.
I mean,
I liked it from the second that it was like he was introduced in part 1.
Well,
I
my
was like,
thing-
oh, sign me the fuck up.
my thing was in part 1, you get to see Dio's intentions, his goals,
Yeah.
and understand why he's evil. Because Dio is evil, yes, but he's not necessarily inherently evil. Like he's trying to obtain his own stature. He's trying to obtain
Yeah.
his own power.
He's
his
got
own-
goals.
Yes, and it's only because of his upbringing that he has those goals.
Mhm.
But where you see Dio in part 3, it's I almost view them as 2 different characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's changed so much. Like in part 3, he's evil for the sake of being evil, which
Mm.
does not really make a great villain. The reason why Dio is such a good villain though is because he just has that kind of, I hate to use like the menacing aura type joke, but like
But
he does have that
he's got-
aura to him
He's
of
got
like
that, yeah.
you can understand why people feared him. You can understand why
Yeah,
he's a scary character.
He's definitely the character design on him. It's definitely killer. Because I get it.
But I think the villains improve within the parts. Like part 4's villain, I like a lot more than Dio because like he's not necessarily evil for the sake of being evil. He's just a serial killer, pretty much. And like you get more revealed about him as the part goes on and stuff like that. But,
I guess Jaeger wants to join in the conversation.
Put his breathing up to the microphone. Jaeger, do you have anything you would like to add?
The crazy eyes.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to get to part 4. I gotta chug through.
Yeah, part
4.
4.
Most of the stands I haven't like loved. I did low key. I was into an orangutan that could control the entire fucking ship.
Strength was a fucking.
That was insane.
That was a circus.
That was
fucking
a
episode.
fucking first. I mean, you know.
Yeah, the one thing that was really weird about that episode was definitely the subplot with the girl.
Yeah, I did not love. I have talked about how my biggest grievance with JoJo's is how it writes women, but especially when it's a child.
Well, so the
whole time I was like, she's a child.
The one thing that is you have to remember with that is so like, and I was saying this to him when he was watching the episode where it's the I can't remember the stand thing for the car driver.
Oh yeah.
So that episode, I was like, he was watching that episode. I said to him, you know what's so weird to think about is the fact that Jotaro is like 14, 15.
Yeah, I know.
And that girl is like 9, 10.
Yeah, isn't she like 10?
Yeah,
Which
so it's a 4-year difference. And Jotaro is literally, like, Jotaro is taller than I am.
Massive. Well, he's
190 centimeters tall.
That's also the fucking style of this anime. Is the trope of like super buff male characters, like the idealized male in the eyes of men.
It's all the character designs are very like Fist of the North Star.
They are.
Type designs.
Which is fine, but
up until part 4.
If you ignore the subplot of the girl, the fucking episode where a monkey controls an entire fucking ship, I was like, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember reading the bio for the episode. It was like they aboard a ship with one orangutan, and I was like, oh my fucking god.
But I also really liked oh god, what's his name? It's the Moon. The stand of the Moon. But no, when they're on the ship before they go to Strength.
No, it's Dark Blue Moon.
Dark Blue Moon, yeah. When they fight him,
he's the guy with the underwater.
Oh,
like I loved that episode, just strictly because of like the confrontation between him and Jotaro. Like before they realize that he's the stand user. Like Jotaro saying, "I just figured out how you can detect stand users." And like everyone's like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And he's like, yeah, if you inhale cigarette smoke, you get a little vein that pops out on your nose. Yeah. And the ship captain touches his nose. He's like, wait, what the fuck? And Joe's like, yeah, I just made that shit up. You're the stand user.
That was gold.
Like
JoJo when they do writing like that.
Like
Jotaro figure you the fuck out.
Jotaro is still one of my favorite.
Everything with Joseph Joestar all the time doing shit like that.
Like your next line is.
Next line is.
That was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was so good. I loved that. That was so good.
But like Jotaro is kind of like one of those characters that is just overall like perfect.
I still think that Joseph is better, young Joseph.
Well, I'm saying like in terms of ability, like Jotaro has one of the strongest stands in the show. Period.
I mean. He's got one of the 2 strongest stands in the show.
Again, you haven't seen the rest of the show. So.
Wait, are you talking about?
I'm just talking about an overall JoJo.
I'm talking about
one of the strongest stands.
I was talking about just in part 3 in general. He's literally one of 2 stands that are the most powerful.
Yeah, especially part 3 Jotaro, because he does get a little weaker in part 4.
Yeah.
But part 3 Jotaro is like by and large one of the most powerful stand users ever, and it's not just brawn, it's brains too. Like there are so many times where he's able to outwit and outsmart and just completely fucking play calm, cool, collected. Like there's so few times where you actually see Jotaro lose his cool. Yeah. And those times where you do see it, it's great. Like one of the first times you ever see this is actually like I think it's the 2nd episode. Well, really, it's his introduction.
Oh, with his mom.
His mom, yeah. When he first
that is an iconic introduction.
I love that introduction.
That is such a good introduction to a character.
Shut the hell up, you annoying bitch.
And it tells you so much about the character right from the get-go. I love that.
And just Holly being
and
like,
just her running down the hallway.
Okay. She's telling him to shut the fuck up.
I know.
Like, beautiful.
God.
And then seeing Joseph coming back, dude, what the fuck? You can't talk to your mom.
I'm Joseph. Me being like, what the fuck are you doing?
Or like when Joseph, like, so when Holly first, like, so you saw her fall ill and everything.
Yeah.
So like when she first falls ill,
yeah.
like Joseph freaking the fuck out, going nuts,
give a shit.
and just Jojo just sitting there. But no, it's like when Joseph like grabs him by the shirt and is like shaking him, and Jojo just grabs his hand and just starts like literally crushing his wrist in his hand because he's so mad.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say anything.
He doesn't say anything.
Like it's just those moments that make the character.
Honestly, I like the interaction that Joseph and Jojo have throughout.
GG.
I do. They bounce off of each other
so
really fucking well.
All of that, like the Stardust Crusaders, all of
the
them.
main crew.
They all play off each other.
They got a strong crew.
Like I love. Like
I kind of felt like
seen I can't remember.
I kind of felt like Avdol, Pomerev, and Iggy were their own thing, and then Joseph, Jotaro, and Kakyoin were their own thing.
No, because like Pomeroff and Kakyoin have so many interactions together.
By the way, love Pomeroff.
I think Kakyoin is one of my favorites.
I'm a big fan of him. They introduced him, and I was like, sign me up. I'm here for it.
A man with fencing as his power. You haven't met Ellipsi yet.
No.
Because that episode is one of my favorites.
Also, Pomeroff, you know those earrings he fucking has? I literally have a pair of earrings that look like that. I'm like, wow.
You can buy them.
Representation.
Yeah.
I fucking found a pair of earrings that just look like that without watching the show.
Which one's Ellipsi?
Ellipsi is his stand is Sat. And it's the one where it's his shadow.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I love
that episode is
That's
great.
I love that. I don't think you've gotten that far because that's the Egyptian god. So that's
that's when they're
second
in Egypt.
Season of part 3.
That's when they're in
Which is
Egypt.
so fucking confusing.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
the good thing is because they did it that way, it does realign.
Like
season 4 is then part 4, season 5 is part 5.
Which I appreciate. The amount of times I've had to look up.
I just did it.
Parts of season.
Yeah.
Right. People have told me, you have told me a million times how it works, and it just doesn't click in
I'm
my brain.
thankful that I've had to tell people a billion times because if I hadn't, I would not have remembered myself.
I Googled it last night before I started part 4. I was like, where do I start?
I'm like, where am I? What's happening?
Yeah, you're actually back up. Now it lines right back up.
Now it's season 4, season 5, season.
I remember watching part 1 and being like, when does it break up? Like when?
So wait, I only technically have 2 more seasons then, because I'm on part 4.
Yeah, season 4 and season 5. That's it. That's all you got
left.
left.
Only 5.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I think there were 6?
There's not. There's 8 total parts to JoJo, but parts 6, 7, and 8 have not been adapted.
They haven't been animated yet.
Okay. Which part 6 is obviously the next one to get adapted.
Yeah.
But there's no information on when, how, why, where.
That's fine.
Which really hurts.
I watched Orin High School Host Club in middle school, and I still want a 2nd season. So. Bring that beef back.
I want part 6 so bad just because of the impact it has on the overall story. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you guys want spoilers because it is.
I want to read it eventually.
It's not a huge spoiler.
I definitely want to read it.
It doesn't impact like the prior parts. It just impacts the future parts.
Maybe we'll bring this conversation when we finish the show.
Not exactly.
So they retcon something.
No, it's not necessarily a retcon. It just changes the flow of the future.
Well, when we finish it, we can bring it back up.
Yeah. Which, I mean,
because I'm like,
if you're going to read it, start reading it. Because, like,
it's long.
Yeah.
I know. I was going to, like, actually pay for the books, like a good Samaritan. And then I realized how many books I would have to fucking buy. And I was like, there's no fucking way. One of the best parts about reading it, though, is seeing Araki's art style. Well, that's the thing. That's why I want the physical book.
And I do think
like
the anime does do a great job of doing that. But like for part 4, for example, part 4 when it first started was very much in the same style of part 3.
I was reading like a Reddit
think so at all.
about how it evolves.
Oh,
I was reading a thing about that, about how it starts like part 3 and then like clearly transitions.
Yeah.
So the show picks like the later style. I was reading about that.
Yeah, I'm really happy it picked the later style.
Because it's like it's fucking iconic. I see it all the time. But
even the character, like I love the character designs for part 4. Like all the characters look super interesting.
I really want the books. I fucking just love owning books and being like art and spo.
Well, plus,
just like looking at it.
You haven't met Rohan yet, right?
I get a lot of fucking serotonin
Rohan's
from
a cool character
looking at a comic book.
I also don't understand, like, I've been watching anime, like, pretty much since I started watching cartoons. Like where?
What's the difference?
But where's JoJo's like been? Like was it just not?
Well,
It was just never adapted. So like up until
Wait, when did the first part animation come out?
No.
No, wasn't it? It was early, wasn't it?
It's like in the 90s.
I was gonna say.
Oh,
I think it was
the original adaptation of JoJo's was for part 3, and it takes place. It's like almost like what Dragon Ball Z Kai is, but for JoJo's.
Yeah.
But it only took place during the 3rd part. So it starts from the beginning of part 3 to the end of part 3. The style was completely different, obviously. Everything was like very much different than the current adaptation.
When did they make this on? Yeah, when did they make the current adaptation?
The current adaptation, I believe, started in 2011.
I like that we're asking Matt this instead of looking it up ourselves.
I believe. I don't know why I'm so good with dates.
You are good with dates and stuff. That's why I'm asking you.
No, 2012. Sorry.
Yeah.
So 2012, part 1 released for the adaptation.
And then it wasn't. When did it go on Netflix?
Not
like
recently.
within this
Like
year.
last
That was like
year.
recently,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's
29,
why.
like halfway through.
I think it was like at the end of 2019.
That's why it's
Yeah.
not such a like. I don't want to say mainstream, but like main pop culture like
'Cause they-
resurgence.
Because they added part 1 and part 2. Like I watched those. We're in June. I think I watched those in like January or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it got uploaded like in December.
And then
or
the
November.
other part 4 and 5 are on Hulu, I think.
Yes, they
But,
are.
only
yeah.
Or
dub.
Crunchyroll.
Only sub.
Okay, I was gonna say only dub.
Well, the part 4.
But now you have to watch it with ads, unless you pay for Hulu without ads.
Part
Or
4
just-
is
Which that's
dubbed.
gonna be a hard.
Or just go to
get
Kiss Anime.
Actually, I was gonna
Or
tell you.
No, it's not on Kiss Anime. Ryu Anime.
No, I was gonna tell you. Adult Swim. You can watch like I don't know if they have all of part 4, but Adult Swim has like because part 5 isn't finished dubbing yet. I think there's like 10 episodes or so they have to go.
I know.
But part 5 in its almost entirety is on Adult Swim, free to watch.
Well,
Really?
I was gonna say because I've been just using Ryu Anime and they have all of part 4 done.
Yeah.
So I've just been watching.
I mean, I'm not sure if part 4 is on Adult Swim, but it's because they've been airing it on Tsunami.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would think.
I couldn't imagine just jumping into part 4 though.
Well, no.
Oh, you mean like no, never skip a part. Again,
No,
if you're
never.
interested
You
in
start
watching
from the fucking
JoJo,
beginning.
start from the beginning because you need
Start
that
from the
build.
beginning.
Well, because honestly, I think if I had started at like part 3 or part 4, I would have not.
I don't
I
know.
would not like
I don't know if there's a single show that I haven't started from Black Mirror. I was like, I don't know if I've ever not started a show from.
Yeah, Black Mirror you
Black
can watch
Mirror.
at any point.
I started with San Junipero because Tumblr.com was fucking obsessed with that episode. Because spoiler alert, it's gay. And so I started with that episode, which great episode, and then I watched Black Mirror all the way through. But that's the only show I did start at the beginning.
Yeah, Diamond is Unbreakable is also on Adult Swim. That's part 4.
I was like, I don't.
No, I know that.
I didn't.
But
I was like, what
part
the fuck
five
are
is
you
not.
talking about?
Part 5 is not because it's not fully dubbed.
Not yet, anyway.
No, part 5 is too. It's just not fully done yet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
That makes sense.
trying to figure out where you are. Yeah, so you're at the.
Hello.
You said that you just beat the. brother.
I think I'm on episode. I'm starting episode 4.
Oh, you're starting episode 4.
4 or 5. I can't remember.
Probably 5.
Yeah.
'Cause I think like they're just confronting the brother like in the house, right?
No, he's already bleeding on the ground.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, I'm not gonna say what happens next, but
Yeah.
there's a couple of things that are gonna happen.
Like he got the egg stand and all that.
yeah,
shit.
Koichi,
Yeah.
Koichi-kun. Fucking love Koichi.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So Sam, what did you want to talk about this week?
I've just been watching Avatar The Last Airbender instead of JoJo's.
I'm gonna restart
Which
that.
we can talk about it again. I mean, that show really fucking holds up. I
What,
rewatched it.
Avatar?
Yeah, I rewatched Avatar like maybe 2 years ago,
Avatar, I would
and I'm
say, is
rewatching it again.
one of the most important cartoons
I
ever
would
made.
completely agree. I would say it is easily one of my favorite shows, period,
Yeah.
of all time.
Because the
Like
great
it
thing
goes
about
Lost, and then shortly below that is Avatar.
the
Last
great thing
Airbender.
about Avatar is the fact of number 1, how well it holds up. Number 2, the style is great. Number 3, the story is superb.
It's so good. I
and
love
number 4, the characters.
amazing, unparalleled.
Yeah, honestly, like
Yeah, legitimately.
that show has
Zuko's
some.
arc alone.
Yeah.
Azula's arc.
Azula, Sokka, Toph, all of
Katara,
them
all of
have
them.
crazy
Crazy
good
good.
fucking
Yeah.
character development.
Yeah. I also
Even Aang, like Aang,
Yeah.
Aang changes like
drastically.
Yeah, kind of a shit.
So does Sokka. Like I like watching season 1. I'm like, damn.
Watching Goofy can't do
Sexist
anything. Sokka, yeah.
Sokka, who's like, oh, the Kyoshi warriors, you're just a bunch of girls, and then like season 3 Sokka, different.
One of my favorite things that Avatar does too, that a lot of shows like they'll do it but doesn't last, is how the characters learn.
Yeah.
Like you'll have a cartoon where a character will learn a lesson and then literally the next episode they're the same character.
I also feel like the first season kind of does that a little bit, but they don't spell out the lesson necessarily to you. Like as the show kind of progresses, they don't do that thing that like kids media does a lot, where they're like, and see, this is where we learned that lying is bad.
Yeah.
Like they don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I love Avatar.
A lot of the big changes that happen from characters happen from like some of the smallest interactions.
Yeah.
Like even just the whole dynamic between Zuko and Iroh.
Mm-hmm.
Like Iroh, for example, he never really tries to correct Zuko a lot of the times. Like he'll say, like, Zuko, you're doing this
He's
wrong.
just incredibly patient.
Yes.
And understands him.
Yeah,
and, like,
it's not until really like when Zuko goes to leave Iroh, when Iroh finally is like, Zuko, listen, you're fucking up everything.
Yeah. Like Iroh is like such a good lesson in how to have patience with people and how people will actually like learn and grow and develop if you are just like
if you're just there.
If you're there and you let them grow organically. Like you can't force someone to change. You gotta let them know that they want to change and also, have to kind of just organically let that
Avatar
happen.
has single-handedly the best short story type episode. Period.
100%. And all of their filler episodes are so fucking good.
Don't
stop!
Honestly, that episode still. I remember watching that as a child and like crying, and then watching that at 21 years old and still fucking crying.
Me when it's Alpha's lost.
Oh no! Stop!
That's so sad. But that's the thing that I love about Avatar is it's made for kids, but it understands that kids feel emotions and are capable of grasping big ideas.
Yes.
Like, there's a whole thing when they're in the fucking Fire Nation and Zuko's like, we were in school, we were taught that the Fire Nation's the greatest fucking nation in the world. Like, they don't dumb that down for a young audience.
Yes.
They put it at face value and understand that kids are going to get it.
Yes.
It's the exact same way I feel about, like, a lot of Studio Ghibli movies. Like, they get that kids have brains.
There are so many important lessons in Avatar.
So many.
You can grasp at any age.
And there's so much stuff in Avatar that I totally like attribute my growth as an adult from that show. Like, a lot of things about me, it's because I fucking watched Avatar as a kid.
Yeah.
And I loved Avatar as a kid. And I remember the finale, like waiting for that to come on TV and like waiting for that and being so excited and watching the finale and being like, this is the coolest fucking shit in the world. And it's totally like Avatar had such a fucking big impact on me as a kid. It got me into like art, like all sorts of shit.
That's
Loved
like it was like after my time in the cartoons and all that, and then I just watched it like this past year.
I mean, that's the thing.
It had such
Avatar is truly kind of timeless.
It is, and I would 100% recommend it to people that haven't seen it before. I have a friend right now watching it for the first time. And watching her watch Avatar for the first time in her life is some of the greatest joy I've felt. Like, watching her text me about Avatar for the first time she's ever seen it is the happiest I've, like, been watching a person watch something.
Well, I'm wondering why the hell it hasn't been on Netflix or Hulu of any of this until this past year.
Nickelodeon
had
that
it,
with their fucking, like, every single fiber of their being.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, the thing is, like, Avatar, up until it got released on Netflix, you legitimately had to go buy the Blu-ray copy.
And I have the DVDs.
Yeah.
And I have, like, used them so much that, like, book 2 is, like, some of it's scratchy. So, like, I'm like, damn it. Like, I would have to buy them again now. And book 2 is so good. I can't just fucking skip the Tales of Ba Sing Se. Like,
oh, my God.
I can't do it.
There is no
So now,
Ba Sing Se.
Oh, my God.
Such a good fucking
guy
Lake Lao guy.
Lake Lao guy. Fuck Lake Lao guy.
So now I've gotten
all
into
my
like
homies hate Lake Lao guy.
fuck Lake Lao guy. Now I've gotten fully back into just like watching videos that are like, and here's the entire timeline of Avatar Kyoshi, and it's like, yeah, I could go read the book, but
I read
Avatar Kyoshi, stan.
Also,
Everything about her, stan.
I really did like a lot, and I love that like when Aang is trying to like confront like what he should do with Ozai,
and
like he talks to all the avatars, and they all say,
like,
you know, you gotta
fucking kill him. You gotta fucking kill him. And he's like, well, he fell. Like it wasn't really his fault. And Kyoshi's like, I don't really see much of a difference.
Yeah.
Savage. Love Kyoshi. She's so iconic.
And that's one thing. Like Avatar did it a lot, but also not to the point where it got old. Was the avatars, like the previous avatars, like they always kept you wanting more.
Which, because it's the spirit world is so interesting.
Yeah.
Everything about the spirit world is so interesting. One of my favorite episodes is the library one.
Oh,
with the fucking owl.
Oh, I love that.
That is easily one of my favorite episodes.
Although it's the most one of the
it's
most
so heartbreaking.
Fucking
just watching
episodes.
Toph being like, I'm sorry. Like, but also the guy that's like, I've been searching for this library. This is my whole fucking life. I'll just die here.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Owl, am I cool to stay here? Then I was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
All right, bro. I'll read books all day.
I'm gonna stay here and read books with a fucking owl in the spirit.
Don't worry about food or water. I'm gonna just chill here and read a little bit.
No big deal. No big deal. But the owl being like, bitch, I told you not to take more materials and you did it. Fucking Baka.
Well, the thing is, I also think that episode also shows like the scope of Toph's like ability.
Oh, 100%.
Like, the fact that Toph, so I mean, imagine it's this giant fucking structure
holding it up.
and she's holding it. Not only is she holding it up, but she's holding it up by one power.
And she also can't feel the ground, which is like 90% of her power.
She's in sand, but she has no base of power.
She can't feel what's happening around her.
The fucking library is literally being pulled into the spirit world by a fucking god.
And she's
holding it up.
Oh, when she learns fucking metal bending,
I was gonna say.
Fucking insane. And she's
when
just
the
like
boulder catches her.
Oh my god, everything about Toph, I love. I also just love there being a fucking badass, like disabled character. I'm like, fuck yeah, here for it.
The Daredevil type character.
Yes, I love it. She's so
and
fucking cool.
Her story is really cool too. She was born from nobility. Her parents had sheltered her entire life.
Yeah.
But because they had sheltered her, she wanted more.
Yeah.
And you seeing her go
Which is also a good lesson to parents.
What was she called? The Blind Bandit?
The Blind Bandit.
Yeah.
The Blind Bandit.
Like, it's just such a cool, like, fucking story.
It's just such a fucking cool art.
It comes back at points, and, like, you see it being a recurring
And then
theme.
when you watch Korra, and it's like all of this metal bending shit and how it's evolved into society.
That was one of my favorite things about Korra was
technology
seeing,
and all that.
Well, not only seeing technology advance, but seeing technology advance because of bending.
Because of what they did in Avatar.
Like the fact, like electricity or bending electricity, like that was a thing that was legitimately reserved to 4 characters in the show of Avatar.
And then how that evolves.
And now you go into Korra, and there's literally a workforce meant for bending electricity.
Also, I feel like Korra gets a lot of shit, but I legitimately enjoyed it.
I feel like Korra gets a lot of shit because of how rushed it was. Because it's still the same.
Well, when they were airing it, they were so fucking rushed for that show. Because Nickelodeon just made so much fucking money off of Avatar. Like they're gonna be like, yeah, come on, push out this new shit.
And it didn't also help that Nickelodeon wanted to force certain plot elements. Like, that's why the weird ass love triangle that takes place for most of the first part of Avatar or for Korra.
When they didn't want it to happen, and then at the end they stopped airing Korra on TV. Remember, and it was like online exclusively.
That's right. Yeah, you can only watch it on Nick.com.
You could only watch it on Nick.com, and I remember there being like a shit ton of fucking Tumblr discourse about it.
Yeah, see, I
But they basically like that ruins your fucking show. Like when you're like, oh, we're not gonna air it on TV anymore. You can only watch it on Nick.com.
Especially back then.
Especially then. Yeah, I mean that like takes
now
your show.
Now it'd just be on Netflix.
Well, now it's a different.
But
even if you start airing your show on one platform, you didn't take it and be like, hey, it's on this platform instead.
No, but Netflix has done a lot of that. Like, there's a new season of whatever, and it's on Netflix. It's no longer on TV, or like they'll upload.
Yes, but it's a much more available platform.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Netflix. You have to think Netflix is literally cheaper than owning cable.
Yeah,
so
it is.
90% of people
but back then,
probably at least consider buying.
Yeah, but when Korra was airing, I mean, there's people today that don't have internet.
Yeah.
Even more people didn't have internet back when Korra was airing.
Yeah.
And especially kids. And this was back when parents were still kind of like, don't put your name on the internet.
Yeah, don't go on the internet.
Don't go on the internet. Don't DM strangers.
Which,
and
I mean,
now,
to be fair, the internet is dangerous.
which, yes, I agree. The internet is dangerous. But now everyone's fucking personal brand is just their whole ass name. Like, but back then it was like you had to come up with usernames because no one could know who the fuck you were.
Yep.
But yeah, they kind of ruined Korra with that. But I liked Korra. People shit about Korra a lot, but I liked
them
it.
to kind of go through and kind of rework Korra now.
I would love to see what they wanted Korra to be.
Yes, that's
like
the thing.
give me the director's cut.
I don't want them to completely like strike Korra out and say, okay, this didn't happen. Here's something else.
No, and everything with the spirit realm with Korra and learning about the first Avatar, learning about the Avatar spirit and
well, that
Korra spoilers, cutting, like literally fucking killing the spirit, and that being a whole fucking thing.
Yeah, like well, that was the thing too. Also, I mean, also Aang did that kind of as well.
Kind of, yeah.
But like seeing in like I see so many people that say that instead of doing Korra, they should have given us this show, and it shows like the main cast of Avatar, but in the age where you see them in the flashbacks.
Yeah, I don't want that.
But the thing is, their story was told.
This is how I feel about 90% of remakes.
Yeah.
Like every time people want a new Harry Potter thing, and they're like, "Oh, make it about Harry." No, don't. No, I don't want to hear about them anymore.
Yeah.
And like, fucking anything that gets a revival, I don't want it to be about the main thing that they've already done. Like everyone always wants a Zuko's Mom TV show, which valid, but it works. I get it. I also kind of want it, but it works so well as a book.
Yeah,
like
did you read that comic?
I read that. It's
really fucking good.
It's so fucking good. Like, find it online. It's so fucking good.
Like,
and it's like you can just watch videos where they tell you what happens in it, but the book is legitimately so good. Yeah. There's nothing more satisfying than fucking Zuko's mom fucking going to outside prison and being like, Fuck you.
Yeah, that was really fucking.
And just all the lore on his mom.
That was extremely cathartic.
Her fucking life before the Fire Nation, everything about it is just so fucking interesting.
Not before, but before Ozai.
Yeah, before Ozai.
She's the daughter of the Fire.
She's the daughter of the Avatar,
Yeah. So Avatar Roku.
She married the Fire Lord because the monks were like, you're gonna have powerful children because she's the fucking daughter of the Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but now,
and then Ozai's a fucking dick.
I don't remember. Was Zuko Ozai's?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
he was.
Zuko was. What happened
I couldn't remember that.
She was writing letters back home to oh god, what was her fucking lover's name? Doesn't matter. But to the guy she legitimately loved was writing letters back home, but they weren't getting delivered. The lady who was delivering them was just giving them to Ozai. So then she wrote a fake letter being like, "LOL, Zuko's not Ozai's kid," to like see if he was reading them. And then he was reading them because he got fucking pissed at her. And then she was like, I wish Zuko wasn't your kid. Zuko is Ozai's kid.
Yeah.
But
in Blood Alone.
Yeah. And
you do see, like, in the comics, you do kind of see that Ozai type mentality coming in when, like, because now he's the Fire Lord.
Yeah.
And so, like, you see, like, his interactions with Aang. Like, yes, he wants to keep it peaceful, but he says to Aang on several occasions pretty much, like, hey, like, if something happens, like, I'm going to defend my country.
Well, he has to.
Yeah.
Which is another super interesting thing about the comics is how characters change when given power and, like, authority.
Mm-hmm.
Is their characters, like, super evolved now that it's, like, they're, like, they have authority over the fucking world. Like, literally Zuko.
I also loved the Sokka and Katara's dad subplot too.
Same, that was such a good subplot. Also, again, it had shit with the spirit realm.
Yeah.
Anything with the spirit realm, I'm like, sign me the fuck up. Like
when they went to the goddess like faces,
yeah.
Like
love
that
her.
Was so fucking.
Also,
cool.
her being like, "Bitch, you're hot. Why do you want to know?" Iconic spirit. Yeah, that's a good plot. I really loved that comic book. It was really good.
I also love the fact too, like for the final fight of Avatar, like you see pretty much almost every single character. The
final fight is so good, and they bring every single character in a meaningful way, and not just lining up all the women in them for one shot. After your decade-long movie franchise.
Without a single female solo movie.
Yeah, with no solo movies for them, and after killing off one of the main ones. But you put them all on the line for 30 seconds, so we're supposed to feel like it's a huge feminist movement.
Yeah.
But Avatar does a really good job of legitimately bringing in all of their characters and having them have like meaningful impact on the outcome.
Yes.
which is what I love.
Like all the side characters in that show are written, like even like
Yeah.
that's the thing is like the main characters are superbly written, and then the side characters are also superbly written because they all have impact.
Yeah, they do. Every character they introduce to you legitimately has an impact on what happens in the show.
Yeah.
It's legitimately so good.
Like Jet's story.
Oh my god, fucking Jet.
When Jet first shows up, you expect him to be gone. That's it.
Yeah.
You see Jet, he's done.
He's done.
But
and then he comes back.
In book fucking 2, here he is again.
And every time they bring back a character, it just feel like, let's throw in Jet. The audience would love to see Jet again. It like legitimately has a purpose for him being there.
Hey, you remember Smellerbee? Yeah, well he's back.
Well,
Smellerbee, I always forget Smellerbee's like, I think it's a guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'm gonna go ahead and say non-binary.
I honestly can't remember.
I can't remember either, so I'm gonna.
It kind of falls into that Frieza category where like the design is very tomboyish.
Yeah.
But the voice is also somewhat feminine in the same way.
Yeah. Are you looking it up?
No, I was just reading Discord because now everyone's playing Destiny 2 again apparently.
Awful.
So I have to get back into that.
Fun. You sound thrilled.
So anything else?
End on Avatar.
Yeah.
We can end on Avatar. All right.
Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on social media. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff on social media going forward too. Even some new stuff. I haven't really decided what, but we're all definitely gonna be a part of it.
New content.
Twitch might be in the mix.
It is a girl?
One, yeah. Okay.
Fuck yeah.
I was wrong.
Twitch might be in the mix. We're gonna be doing a lot of new stuff. So make sure to follow us.
It's an exciting time.
Yes. Make sure to follow us. And if you guys have any questions or want us to talk about anything specific or have questions about new content once there is new content out there, let us know. So
yeah.
Tell us what you want to see. I mean, we live to serve. So
we live to serve.
Let us know what you think.
Unless your idea is bad.
Yeah, I mean.
No, we'll talk about it.
Might be better than some of the ideas.
It's probably better than our ideas.
Yeah.
If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave us a 5-star review because that's going to help other people find the podcast.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Link them. Yeah. Cool.
Link and share.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
oh my god.
Share. Tell your grandma.
Tell your grandma.
Tell your grandmother. Tell your grandma. I want to know how your grandma feels about us. Let us know.
See everybody next week.
Yep.